This is where the fun begins.
I have fought the worst of all wars and witnessed the redemption of evil. I have seen balance restored to the Force. But order can turn to chaos, as it did when I was born. Now, with my loved ones and my loyal allies, I face a new challenge unlike any before. And I'm not sure if this time we can win.
Star Wars Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore, the first novel of the new Jedi Order.
Are you sure? So be it. Did you miss me?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my channel, OG Star Wars. This is your host, Alora, and welcome to our Thursday morning CAF chat, where we come together and sit and talk about Star Wars, original George Lucas era of Star Wars news, and Cringe Factor, on top of many other things here that's related to Star Wars. So how are you guys doing? It feels like it's been ages, and I'm happy to be back again. And yeah, so what is in your mug? What are you enjoying this morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world? What are you enjoying as you sit and listen? Do you have a snack with you too? Are you comfortable? Or are you working? If you're at work, then thank you for listening in during that time. And I see people are hopping on, and yeah. So today it's going to be a busy schedule. So I don't know if we're going to get to Cringe Factor, which I'm pretty sure you guys are like, oh, darn it. But we are going to get into, of course, the lore, still following along the Book of Sith. And we're getting into absolute power. So that's Darth Sidious's insert of his material in the book. So we're going to go over half of that. And then we'll continue the rest of it next week. I think next week. Yeah. And then from there, we are going to go into, and it's not in order. We are going to get into the Cara Dune insertion of character inside the latest encyclopedia that just came out, and why her character's not returning. It was never omitted from the lore. So we'll go over that. I think it's clickbait how they're presenting it. So we're gonna get into that bit of Star Wars news / Cringe Factor. Of course, we're gonna talk about the book of the week and Lucas Fact, and those are gonna be related to new Jedi Order stuff. Since that has been the thing that I have, and many others have been discussing. New Jedi Order lore, reading or rereading through the books. In one case, probably reading first time for Star Wars Scran. And so we're going to get into those two subjects that are related to New Jedi Order. And then Cringe Factor. So there you go. And I see people are popping on. We got 23 beautiful souls here. And again, my name is Alora. And thank you for tuning in. Please smash that like button. Become a subscriber if you're not, and maybe a channel member. Now, I don't push the channel member thing really much. Like some of my friends' channels, they do on theirs, which is pretty cool. I love what you guys are doing, but I do encourage you to still become a channel member. I want to start doing channel member streaming and engagement with you guys here on the channel. So check it out and become a channel member. Yeah. And I'm thinking, because I am doing a Boba Fett origin painting to my series, I'm thinking of, you know how people have Patreon, and if you become a certain Patreon member, you can get certain kind of gifts and stuff like that. Well, I'm thinking about doing that for the channel here. If you're this tier of a member, you get this postcard with a hello, thank you for your support from me, with one of my prints, and just going from there. So let me know what you guys think about that, because I think that if that happens, I don't have a way of getting addresses. So I might have to do a Patreon or something just to have you guys a part of that. I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. I need and Star Wars Marvel Pierce, I need a join link to post periodically. You don't have one on your page. I should have a join link on my page. That is, it's there. The join link is there. It's just not on the app. So if you're on the app, the join link is on the page. So I don't know. I'll have to go investigate that. All right. So with that being said, we are here. We are back talking Star Wars. How are you guys doing? What are you guys reading right now? Besides the ones that I already know that are reading New Jedi Order with me. Are you guys reading anything? Anything besides New Jedi Order? That's Star Wars related, like original lore, George Lucas era. Just let me know here. So let me see who's in the chat. It feels like ages since I've been here. I was down sick from like almost a week and a half. And both of them were stomach ailments, like stomach flu and then food poisoning. And I felt like I've been in hell and back. So I'm glad that I'm feeling much better. And I'm glad I have returned back with you guys. Rodimus Prime is here. Hello there. And let's see here. And I don't see my Vato here. My friend Soul Assassin, where you at? Star Wars Marvel Purist, force choke that like button, and thank you for having and reminding everybody to do that. Star Wars Scron, good morning, Alora, and good morning to you. And Kenny Long is here. Good afternoon to you. Rodimus says here, just because George Lucas ignores some things in the EU when he was doing the prequels or TCW does not mean it wasn't canon. George is the creator. He's allowed to change whatever he wants. Yeah, but he really never did. Whether we like it or not. I don't know why that's an argument now, because we're past George now. He never really changed anything. So I don't know why that argument is even presented anymore, because it's to argue he's allowed to change whatever he wants and like it or not is acting like or inserting that he's still a part of the company. He's not. So that part basically is now moot or obsolete because he's not a part of his company anymore, the company anymore. And when you look at it, he's really never changed anything. He's vetoed stuff he didn't want. He has allowed and helped work on the things he did want, and it helped the authors expand towards his vision. And, and there are some things that were, brought in under the table without George knowing, through Filoni and stuff. And he's admitted that. So there we go. But here we go. And let's see here. Let me see. I forgot one. I completely ignore Filoni Clone Wars. Maul coming back to life. It makes no sense. Ahsoka isn't in the movies. He disrupts and destroys the EU lore. Correct. And let's see here. That would be cool. I need an Asajj print. Yeah, that one right there, I think everybody likes. Let's see here. And we don't always have to agree with George all the time. I do agree with George when it comes to I disagree with George. Mainly that wasn't particularly George 100%. So, yeah. And let's see here. I completely ignore Filoni Clone Wars. Maul, I already read that. And the last changes he made were for a 4K scans of 1 through 6. He has nothing to do with Disney Star Wars, correct? And I paused on it. I was hoping to have the video up before today, but I paused on it because I was for the college where I am alumni at and stuff. You know, I attended their Native American Heritage Month events and stuff like that. So there's other things that's going on in my actual real life that that took precedence over anything else and everything else. So I am making a video about the history of what happened during the buyouts between George and Bob Iger and Disney. So I'm comprising all of that together from Bob Iger's book, from the interviews with George and how George was let down and how what George still thinks today. Yes, he has stock. He's a shareholder. And he's, as that, with the big investment he has, he still wants it to succeed because that's his money, right? But he still does not agree with the direction that Disney has taken Star Wars. And so that's a tough spot to be in. So I am putting together a video on that. I'm surprised no one else has ever done that, the history of that whole thing, the whole buyout history. I'm trying to find a clever way of wording the video to catch the algorithm, because I think it's very important to get this kind of video out to quiet all the BS talk that Disney shills say about George and stuff like that. So that should be coming here soon. It's a little task, but you know, it's something I'm willing to take. It's something I'm willing to take and share with you guys, that bit of history and comprising all the bits and pieces of that through the 9+ years, especially in the beginning. The last changes he made. Oh, I read that one already. Hey, JG, how are you doing? And Mike says George should have left it to his kids if they were interested, like what Tolkien did, but that seemed to have backfired as well. Yeah, you always bring in people with good intentions. You think that they are, they have your back, right? You think that they have your back and your interest at heart. And that's the thing that George thought about Kathleen Kennedy. He thought she had his back, had the interest of Lucasfilm, Star Wars at heart. That's why he brought her in. That backfired. And that's all I'm going to say about that right now, because that's going to be in the video. And plus other things that pertains to that. So stay tuned for that. So just imagine, you know, like Tolkien with his grandkids and stuff like that, which backfired on him now. And then Lucas not really giving his kids to having been the heir, because it's explained a little bit that they would run the business, but it would be, I mean, the atmosphere for it and everything for how they see it and how they would have did it would be different. I don't know. So that will be in the video, I promise you, on why he chose Kennedy and why the kids weren't basically the heir to this empire, I guess you could say. And heir to the empire. Get it? No, joking. But anyways, and hey, Soul Assassin, what's up? What the? I see you. He was deceived by a lie. We all were. OG. I know. I get it. And yeah, so that video will be coming up here. Like I said, I had to pause. Life happens. I had to pause, and there's things I had to take care of. I hardly make any pre-made content videos and stuff like that. So that's one thing that just sparked my interest when I wouldn't say reread, but I listened to the Audible version of the Star Wars chapter from Bob Iger's biography. And that sparked the interest. I'm like, wow, no one has really sat down and talked. Only a couple people I know has talked about what was said in Iger's book about Star Wars and about the acquisition of Lucasfilm. And so that's very interesting. Then I was like, you know what? Instead of just talking about this, just that chapter and what was said, why don't I put together a historical type video of events from pre-buyout when Iger was planting that seed in George's head to sell, to the outlines, and that's what they're calling. They're not calling the treatments. They're calling them outlines. So the outlines George gave for I guess you could say part of the negotiations for the acquisition of Disney, of Lucasfilm. And, and then what had happened, what George was promised and not promised, I guess you could say, what they reneged with George on certain things, and how George feels about Star Wars today. So there's a whole, there's a lot of evidence, that evidence trail that I'm surprised no one has picked up on. So I'm put into my investigative tasks, my training. Yes, I used to be a background investigator. I used to go and investigate shit, and not shit, not literally, but, and so I'm putting all that together. So I'm excited. On top of rereading the new Jedi Order and all this stuff, and painting my Boba Fett painting Origins 1. Rodimus says, I am currently not reading right now, but I am playing Star Wars Bounty Hunter. Oh, cool. At work. Okay, I won't tell on you, I promise. Diddly Squat, hello. How are you doing? And I read that already. But yes, I agree. He didn't realize that CAF Fetcher was really a second coming of Judas. What did I miss? I'm kind of like, what? Huh? What? All right, Mike says, I am trying to beat the Force Unleashed on the highest difficulty to get all the achievements. Ooh, I remember those gaming days where you're like, I gotta beat this to get here, or I want to do that secret mission, or that hidden mission and stuff like that. Yeah, those were the days when I was a gamer. Matthew says, George didn't trust Hollywood. I'm sure he didn't want them corrupted. He was just like his dad on his distrust. They are bankers and greedy, oily car salespeople, according to him. And that kind of reflects on what he says about stuff happening in the PT, right? I remember hearing that George was reluctant to sell at the end, but Iger forced him to. Yes, there is something in there. Yes. And the reluctant was that George wanted to make sure that they were going to keep true to his vision of Star Wars. So we all know what happened with that, right? Talking about Kathleen, the coffee fetcher. Oh, there you go. I'm sorry. That okay. I get it now. Oh, yeah. The coffee fetcher. And then Athoth. I butchered that. I'm so fucking sorry. I do that. I'm sorry. And we went through this already. I remember. Damn it. Okay. I recently said that if you pick Ezra Bridger over Kyle Katarn, and some Faker fan got triggered badly. Yeah, I remember that. I remember you said that. And I remember you corrected me on how to pronounce the name. You recently said that if you pick Ezra. Okay, I see that. All right. So with that being said, that's what's going on behind the scenes for my channel right now, is doing the history behind the pre-acquisition, into the acquisition, and post-acquisition of Lucasfilm. And so it's been a fun task. It's been very interesting to get all these bits of information, and re-listening to some of the long interviews that George was in and has given. And and even about Harlem, the interview being taken down from public. I still have it. I discussed it on one of my live streams when Stig used to come and live stream with me for CAF chat. So we discussed that. And so I still have that. But the Harlem interview during the lockdowns is no longer available, but there's many channels like mine that has captured the video and the interview. So, I'm glad I hopped on that and we discussed that. And thank you to Stig for coming on and discussing that with me. All right, let's see here. And what's going on? Okay, so with that being said, that's what's going on. And I can't wait to get this information out to you. And we are going to get into our first Lucas. Well, not first. There's not like many Lucas facts. We are going to get into our Lucas facts, but I want to go ahead and play this commercial here that I have added a brand new one. And so maybe some of you guys may recognize this one. And thank you, Soul Assassin, for sharing this.
Tauntaun? What is it?
Wampa! Wampa! New Tauntaun, Wampa, and action figures, each sold separately.
Han Solo! Help! Oh no! It's got Luke!
Wampa!
Watch it, Tauntaun! Gotcha!
New Tauntaun comes with an open belly rescue feature.
You'll be okay, Luke, as soon as I chase away that thing.
Wampa! Wampa! New Tauntaun and Hoth Wampa and other action figures, each sold separately from Kenner's Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back collection.
That's great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
Love that so much. So here we go. Whoops, wrong one. Ooh. Now you guys know. I spoiled that one. Let's see here. So here's the Lucas fact. Like I said, it's going to be New Jedi Order or related. And I know we talked about this many times here on the channel. I think we even discussed this a brief last time for CAF Chat. But due to New Jedi Order series being a big production, George Lucas became involved in the major plots, not only given directive of who could be killed in the beginning of the series, but the direction of Anakin Skywalker's grandchildren. Luke was proposed to be killed. George Lucas said no, allowing Chewbacca to be killed off. And that's just all in short. There's a whole big story behind that, to even where Salvatore was basically pissed off some fans. And I think he said that he was getting some death threats from that or whatever. Also, not wanting to two Anakins to exist at the same time, as George Lucas was creating the prequel trilogy at the time. This changed the direction of both Jason and Anakin Solo's arc in the series. So what do you think? Who has read the New Jedi Order? I know we have Scran, who is reading it for the first time. And let's see here. We have Gordon, good brother in, and Jordan, Star Wars. Hello, how are you guys doing? Wampa, yeah. Diddley Squat says Wampa, Wampa. Oh, let's see here. You guys are amazing. Wampa, Wampa. And then there we go. Wow. Do you guys, some of you guys, like growing up, if you grew up with the OT and you're, a young boy during that time, do you remember that commercial? I wampa'd my pants when they jumped into the screen. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. All right. So yeah, so this is a bit of Lucas fact that I thought I'd share, since we have been, reading through the New Jedi Order and talking about it and extensively here on, my channel and like Justin's channel and even Scron's, and other channels seem to be jumping on this New Jedi Order bandwagon as well, which I'm getting reports back that it seems like this New Jedi Order renaissance, I guess you could say, has been occurring, and people have been picking up the books and talking about it on their channels or Twitter. And I'm liking that. I'm liking that we're going through this movement again through New Jedi Order with a lot of people. And here you go. New Jedi Order audio books. They're on YouTube. So I'm always recommending the unabridged versions of any type of audio or audible books, especially if you get busy like I do. And, I love sitting and reading. I do. But there's times where I'm cleaning around the house or I'm running errands or whatever. And so it's like, and I don't want to put down the book because, when you get to some really interesting parts, you don't want to put down the book, but sometimes you need to. Life happens, right? So then I'm like, okay, it's this chapter. And so I'll find it on the Audible and then I'll play it from there as I continue on. And then I'll go back and, check out the book and, brush through what I didn't read, but I listened to, and then catch up where I left off on the Audible. Yeah, so that's my little trick of the trade there. When I'm reading sometimes and life gets busy, instead of putting down the book, I can listen to it. So that's what I recommend, but nothing abridged for the new Jedi Order. Nothing. Do not. That is a great listen to after you have read the books, but then you're still missing a lot of key facts. It's plot heavy, yes, but then sometimes the little major little subplots are taken out and you're like, and it's missing. You could tell stuff are missing. So, but it's a fun listen to. They do an excellent job, but you could still tell that like there's a little hiccup in some areas. Yeah, so I recommend that. Interesting. Let's see here. Matthew says Larry also wanted to kill Han and Luke in the OT, or have a Luke go dark. George is why he had good childhood and none of our heroes are killed. He protected those characters. Yeah, I remember I have the annotated screenplays about wanting to kill Luke. I don't think it was Han, but maybe I could be wrong. It's been a while since I brushed through those. But you're right. George was like, nope. There's other little things that, you know, the other directors wanted to do too, that George is like, that's not my vision. And so what my point I'm getting at is that there are people that are anti-George or whatever, and they're like, oh, well, George was just there. These other people created it. It's theirs. It's not really George's. No, George written the story. And he is the owner, and whatever we see on the screen is what George wanted. that's just plain fact right there. Chaos Man, what you doing? Speaking of New Jedi Order, I used to find it unrealistic that Phalias, after his crimes could somehow be elected chief of state in the New Republic. Now, given recent events, it doesn't seem that way. Anyone? Or anyway, you mean that? He didn't really have any war crimes. He didn't have any crimes that would stop him from being elected. He just was as a Bothan, I mean, it goes into Bothan history. They vie for how their achievements, they vie for like big positions and stuff like that. And so that's what he was doing. And between the New Jedi Order and when he did that in Heir to the Empire, I think it was Heir to the Empire, was it? Yeah, that's a long time frame. That's a long time frame because New Jedi Order is like 20, begins 25 ABY, and the Thrawn trilogy is like 8. So that's a long gap right there. So, and just read through the series, you'll learn a lot. People want good Star Wars. I hear you. Cheers to that. I raise my mug to that, Soul Assassin. We've successful stopped ghost written lore. We successfully stopped ghost written lore videos and started a New Jedi Order trend, all in less than 30 days. Yes, it's been amazing seeing like people picking up and starting to read and talk about. And so we influence, we hype people up. And the more we post about what we're reading, what we're talking about, it influences others to be curious and pick up and talk about. Now, there are some shills that will go the opposite way and talk shit about, but we are still being watched. We are still influencing and encouraging, I guess you could say, and keeping George Lucas' era of Star Wars in front of everybody. So cheers to that. And I will continue to have that as part of my content and my my platform. And I hope that encourages everybody else to do that. You know, whatever you're reading pre-Disney, share the hell out of it. Keep it in front of people. Hashtag like True Star Wars or Original Lore, George Lucas era Star Wars. Hashtag all that crap along with the title name of what you're reading, and get it out there. Get it out there for the masses to see what we are doing, how we are such big influencers here, keeping George Lucas Star Wars alive in front of the masses. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get off my soapbox here now. Swift -1. Hello. How are you doing? Lucas Gerson. George Lucas. Well, you guys can kill any characters you want. There's no rules. Lucasfilm. Okay, we kill Luke Skywalker. George Lucas. Actually, there's one rule. There's well, no, he didn't want, and I have to square this up and to make sure that because there's conflicting. So he didn't want, like I said, there's conflicting because he offered Leia, but then he didn't. He offered Han, but then the authors are like, no, we can't kill off these major characters. Why not Chewie? So that's interesting. There's a lot of things George didn't want them to do. He had reasons not to want two Anakins at the same time. Yeah. He was like, oh, the fans are gonna, be confused. And I'm like, dude, fans can distinguish between two different Anakins and two different eras of Star Wars, so, but I think that he wanted the attention just to be on the PT with the Anakin Skywalker story, which I get. I think it was just the timing. If these two Anakins, like the grandson Solo, if this story was being done after the PT was already done, then there would have been no problem. We probably would have a very different story than we have here today. Am I curious to see or think about what it would be? Yeah, kind of, but I really love what had occurred. I really love how the story pans out through the new Jedi Order era. So, so I'm not going to really get into what ifs, and I'm not going to pander or be sad like, oh, well, or be mad because of what happened with George and not wanting two Anakins. I'm happy. I'm satisfied with what we got, but it's crazy how to think about that though, right? It's crazy. I appreciate that Luke had character progression in the EU, and that the authors had respect in how they continued beyond Return of the Jedi in both Bantam and Del Rey. Didn't publish Deconstruction. No, because that was not the focus of Lucasfilm at the time. Now we're looking at Lucasfilm now today, and they are under a whole different set of rules and guidelines and people, and with agendas and all of that. So it's a whole completely different. It's like you went from the light to the shadow. Like you're looking at people's character, how people have the light and the dark side. We'll just use that since we're talking about Star Wars, so we know how we have the light and the dark side of our being, I guess you could say, where we try to, be morally good, I guess you could say, in what we do in our life and stuff like that. We screw up and we make mistakes, but that doesn't mean we're gray, right? But, so we're looking at the dark or the shadow side of, the opposite of what George did. And that's one video that I wanted to create. And it's still stuck in my head here today. And I've been thinking about this for like 3 or 4 years now. And I don't know why I haven't done the video, but how Lucasfilm today has turned everything George has created upside down. Like Luke Skywalker was the aspiring hero, and where he continued on with his word to Yoda and even Obi-Wan about passing on what he has learned and creating the new Jedi Order and all this other stuff. Now it's totally opposite. His characterization under Disney Lucasfilm is completely the opposite. Han is the one that really, really stands out because he went from the selfish, like thinking of himself, to now being selfless, I guess you could say, in the OT. That arc was very apparent inside the OT. And then when you get into the expanded universe, it continued. We get more lore about how Han was raised, I guess you could say, how he was found and raised, and who helped keep him safe and stuff like that, and how he aspired to have his own family and not have and and all this other stuff, to then meeting Leia like years and years down the line in his life, and how he made that possible. So now, and then you see in Disney Star Wars how that was flipped on its head as well, Leia as well. So there's many things, like even Boba Fett, and like Boba Fett was changed completely too, and turned, that was flipped on, that story arc was flipped on its head too. And let's see here. I was like, what? Smash TNAT? And there we go. There we go. All right. So with that being said, I am debating. Terrible. I agree. 46 viewers here. Thank you guys for all coming in and hanging out. Please smash that like button, become a channel member, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And let's see here. So George Lucas fact right here, New Jedi Order, since that's the subject and that's the books that I'm rereading through. And so I thought I would share that, a little bit of Lucas facts on that. Oh, my foot's falling asleep because I was sitting on it. Oh, I hate when that happens. Woo, that tingling and stuff like that. Small Time Republic, hello, how are you doing? I see you. Yeah, so Lucas facts. All right, so I'm debating on if I should just let's go ahead, refresh your CAF, grab your Book of Sith book, and let's get into Sidious. Let's get into his portion of this book. Yes. So I don't have that thing. Yes. But let's get into that there, and we'll discuss the expanded the lore. Let me see here. I don't have a segue. I don't have a segue thing for that. I'm gonna have to make a segue button or little video for that, but let's listen to this.
Jedi is something that came a little later. When we started building Jedis, we had a lot of Jedis, and we needed more and more Jedis. As we were doing them toward the end, we ended up with a lot of Jedis that looked like people that worked at ILM. With these short little haircuts and looked like they stepped out from behind a computer. And so I was saying we have to get more exotic Jedis. And so we only have so much resources to do these things with, but I do have Twi'leks because we use them quite a bit in other areas in the Senate and as background action. So I have a sort of a wardrobe and a setup of certain kinds of characters. So it was a way of reinventing some of those characters. And I had realized that we had a comic book that has a Twi'lek in it that is a Jedi. There's a whole series actually of her. And I said, well, why don't we put her in this? I mean, she's a comic character, but we'll just fit her in and have her be a background character because that's exotic. That's how the Twi'lek Jedi ended up in the backgrounds of these shots, was to try to use some of the work and effort that the guys in the comic book world had put into things and characters they had created.
Hey there, Melissa Lord. Oh, where did you go? There we go. What's up? You hear that helicopter going on? That is just like right by. Oh no, it's not. It's it's the yard guy doing the yard. He is mowing our lawn while I am here live. This would really trigger Tim. But hello, Melissa Lord. What are you doing? How are you doing? I hope work is treating you well. And cheers to you, channel member. Let me go ahead and change the screen here. There we go. So Sith lore, Book of Sith. Of course, I had to use young Palpatine here as a picture here. Oh my God, that lawnmower. Ugh. Of course, and they have to be by my window here. Damn. Just yesterday, I think we had some helicopters flying over or whatever. I don't know what's going on, but I'm on the res. Who knows what's going on these days? All right. Let's see here. Jordan says, I was hanging out some comic book stores lately. Glad to be here. The New Jedi Order series is such a classic. I agree. Yes. And then I've been doing that in my spare time, just hanging out in some, oh yeah, All right, I read that one. All right, so with this being said, let me go ahead and open my book up so that I can read more efficiently than trying to squint my eyes. And we'll go through this. So some of you guys might be privy to this. I know Justin has, because he reviewed this book on his channel. So this is going to be a very interesting part. Of course, we skipped over the towels and bullshit part because that's how I roll. Let's see here. Darmit says, OG Star Wars, what American state do you live in? I live in California. I live on a Native American or Indian reservation here. So basically, in a sense, I don't live on state land. I live on tribal land. So it's its own sovereign nation, and it's not considered California state land. Yeah. So interesting, right? I'm behind on my videos, Lafa. That's okay. Life happens. I know you know. I mean, we talked about this, life shit happens, life happens, and sometimes we just have to adjust and go from there. All right. This is so fucking annoying. Oh my God. All right. So absolute power. I almost expected this chapter to be an unlimited power. My mic wants to fall over. Why are you being such a pain in the ass? I feel like everything wants to be a pain in the ass today for whatever reason. I don't know. This is crazy. There we go. All right. So I almost expected this to be unlimited power, not absolute power, because that sounds very much more attuned with Palpatine, right? With Darth Sidious. And Darmit says, OG Stars, I heard that a lot of the Western reservations are in a bad state. I hope your tribe people are doing well. I live on my husband's tribe. Mine is in South Dakota. So South Dakota in the Midwest, up in the Northern Plains is where... I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's just driving me crazy. But nonetheless, can't stop the show for that. So here we go. So page 145 of the Book of Sith. And I'm going to go ahead and read Palpatine's Sidious's annotation first. The top one, not the bottom one. All right. Looking back on the these words from a looking back on these words from a remove of nearly 20 years. Yeah, it says remove. I should have moved more quickly in silencing the Senate. That contemptible body became a cesspool of grandstanding simpletons. So that's Sidious's thought. So they were simpletons, grandstanding simpletons, all of that. So that's how he thought. And he's like, I should have just took him down a long time ago. But when you think about that, like everything happened exactly the way it needed to happen for him, I guess you could say. Let's see here. All right. So let's see. The writings I have collected in this volume appear in their original forms. Many are fragments of what once were longer works, but the preservation of what remains is less important than the recognition of how they led to my new version of the Sith Order. New version of Sidious's Sith Order. So again, he's not really honoring the rule of two. So think about that. Think about that. The following three books, The Weakness of Inferior, The Book of Anger, and The Manipulations of Life, present how I achieved absolute power, how I shall maintain. I feel like I should be like reading in such a wicked, condescending voice, right? I'm not going to do it, but I'm just saying that's how I feel. That's the feeling I get from this. I shall maintain it through the agency of my galactic empire, and how I will reshape the galaxy throughout the ages to come. And this is annotation here. So simple in concept, yet I am bound by the incompetence of others. I trust that my commanders will stifle dissent. Sorry, I can't read his handwriting sometimes, but frequently it grows louder. Had I not foreseen my internal triumph, I might be troubled. So there you go. But like I said, I should feel like should be reading it in a insidious kind of like condescending, evil way. So there we go. The weakness of inferiors. So page 146. The empire has only begun to be built, but its foundation is the anger of the dark side. Although the mindless subjects know nothing of this shadowy majesty, the true power of the empire originates with the emperor. The promises laid out by the rule of two have been fulfilled. The Sith have been brought to glory, and the Jedi to destruction. As Darth Bane, I hate this. As Darth Bane knew the weakness of inferiors is self-evident. The weak do not understand the Force. Now, I don't know. I'm going to pause here. I don't know why they decided to have him look up to Talzin. That's fucking bullshit. I skipped her name. I skipped her name in that part. Because there's no way this Dark Lord should look to this person who's not even a Sith as someone capable and equal. Now, Darth Bane, I get he is basically the Sith RE. Basically, he brought in the New Order, the Rule of Two, and all that. Okay. The weak do not understand the Force. They are ignorant and lack power, but they may still be exploited for gain. No ruler can manage an entity as complex as the populated galaxy without knowing how to manipulate others. And boy, did he manipulate the galaxy during the Clone Wars. He was in control of both sides of the war, both sides. So it didn't matter who won, really, right? Doesn't matter if it was the Republic or not. He was the one that was going to basically win it all, in a sense. Fear is the spark that drove my march to power. Even now it fuels the engine of my empire. The weak must be trained to fear the consequences of betrayal. They must dread that their neighbor's loyalty is greater than their own. The anxious will whip themselves into hysterical nationalism without further prompting. For fear is self-perpetuating. The weak live in terror, and they will be judged for their failings and be put on display, that they will be punished. It is a belief that should not be discouraged. All right, so there we go. And then Luke Skywalker says here, Palpatine was wrong. Those who live under fear can't wait to throw off that yoke. I've seen that footage taken after the news of the Empire's death at Endor hit the news nets. The people of Coruscant celebrated louder and longer than anyone, and that's Luke. So that kind of gives you chills, right? Thinking, oh well, they all subjected to Sidious or the Emperor, and that's all they know. No, they were tired of being under these thumbs and control of the Empire. And once, the ruler was gone, they celebrated freedom. Sidious says here, it is maddening. Yeah, it is maddening educating this rabble with the Empire now nearly in Operation Old. My imperial governors should at least understand the principle of the law of fear. Yet I would have better success trying to teach a Arabish to a Gungan. So he's like, hey, my governor should know, but yet they don't. And I'm having a hard time here. I could probably teach Arabish to a Gungan better. So there you go. All right. The fear of war, 148. Fear was a necessary component in destroying the Jedi and burning away the putrefying vestiges of the Republic. But first, I had to create that fear of revolution, of destruction, and of death. I had to create a war on a massive scale. My apprentice, Count Dooku, rallied star systems to his banner, inflaming passions among Rim citizens. This naturally deepened the fears of core residents who clamored for protection like brush kits mewling for their mothers. The clone army I had prepared was met with applause and relief, and so began the Clone Wars. It did not matter at all that I dictated orders to the separatists through my apprentice, nor that every Republic victory was followed with a carefully planned defeat. The benefits of the false war were countless. From the clone army came a battle fleet and an arsenal of new mechanized weapons of war. Overnight, the Republic had a class of military elites who were swore their loyalty to the Supreme Chancellor. The senators feared that being painted as disloyal would make them unelectable. So they supported measures to dismantle all checks on centralized power. On the opposite side, the Trade Federation, the Commerce Guild, and other corporate conglomerates joined together to protect their profits. They knowingly pledged their allegiance to the Sith. The Jedi did not want war, but they had little choice. They had to join the fight lest they face public scorn. They were like tied, like their hands were tied. If you guys don't realize how much their hands were tied, they would go with negotiations to help, not come to war, and that was a failing factor. Now, again, when you go back and look at the history of the Sith, they studied the Jedi from, their exile, from them hiding basically in plain sight, so that they can know how to defeat them. And Palpatine benefited from this, right? They had to join the fight lest they face public scorn. They're on the front lines. My war struck down my enemies and shred their morals until they were on the brink of the dark side. The Jedi were never the true heroes. I saw to that by manipulating the HoloNet. There you go. Right then and there. And when you get to see, or when you get to or read the Revenge of the Sith novelization, there's a big piece of this evidence of manipulating the HoloNet, because he does that when Mace and the Jedi go to arrest him. And he manipulates and re-edits that HoloNet so that when he's in front of the Senate and he's sharing that information to them, and then that bit of information then goes out to the greater galactic people, it shares how wrong the Jedi were because he manipulated that HoloNet. The people were led to fear the Jedi's arrogance and strange power. By crafting the news, the clone troopers and their noble chancellor became the fearless heroes of the Republic. And so I'm going to go here. So, TCW, like there's a lot of this that has talked about it and how bad it hurts the lore. It doesn't necessarily hurt the EU. It hurts the whole entire historical events within the Star Wars lore, right? And we know that Palpatine has manipulated the HoloNet news and stuff like that to make the Jedi look evil and bad, and among other things. Think about TCW just like that, be a propaganda piece, right? And that being something that's manipulated too. So think about that. That could be applied too. And if that's the approach that should have been, could have been, or was for TCW under Filoni, then that would have been an interesting bit of piece and still would lead to Sidious's plan and manipulation and stuff like that. But anyways, I just went on a little rant on that, a little sidetrack on that. But just think about that, TCW being a propaganda piece. When the time came for the Jedi to be eliminated, the public did not mourn them. When the Senate learned that the Jedi had attempted a coup and needed to be exterminated, they responded with absolute certainty. And when the people saw smoke rising from the Jedi Temple, they felt relief. Isn't that crazy? And here's Luke's annotation here. Even though I'm reading Palpatine's own words, I still can't believe this truth. According to every historical records I've ever seen, the factions fighting the Clone Wars had no idea of the master plan, right? Like Luke's like in denial, man. This man had so much power. Let me see here. Morbon over Carbon is stupid. Jango and Boba not being Mando. That thing, like the Mandalorian, that basically was the character's denial. That was not basically saying that they aren't Mandalorians. And because I remember, I think it was Leland Sheen and stuff saying that they are still Mandalorians and stuff. So, but yeah. Has anyone noticed just how much Sidious styled his empire after Vitiates? I always get his fucking name wrong. Vitiates. Someone's trying to call me. Sorry, dude, you can't call me right now. And now this guy's weed eating by my window. Can you hear that? I mean, we get free yard service from the tribe and stuff like that. But damn, this is the first time he decides to come and do it on a CAF chat. But that's okay. The design of the starships and officers, the title of Moff, and having Anakin recreating the attack of the Jedi Temple by Malgus. Well, I don't think he had him recreate. The temple had to be destroyed. The Jedi had to be destroyed from within. So I don't think that's a recreation. Like, go copy Malgus or whatever, So yeah, they say history does repeat itself. So there you go. Hey, Keely Chow, how are you doing? And Chaos Man, yes. Thank you for that. That's a great observation, though. And Vitiate. Okay. All right. I'm always like, that one is like, that's the one where I'm like always had a hard time with, and I own it. I live up to it. All right. So let's go ahead and go to the next one, the last 2 pages. Like I said, I'm doing this in 2 parts. It is like 10:03, so we're on perfect timing here. And then we'll get into the book of the week and discuss that. And then we'll get into our other topics here coming up. And then Chaos Man says, it brings to mind Sidious's quote in Revenge of the Sith. Quote, once more, the Sith shall rule the galaxy. When the Sith Empire after, that moved on me. After the Treaty of Coruscant, they controlled 2/3 of the galaxy. Yeah, that's true. And Diddley Squat says the Jedi Temple had to be destroyed. It's tradition at the point it's like carving a pumpkin for Halloween. Oh my God, that's crazy. You're funny. All right. So page 150, useful bureaucrats. So I was like, where should I stop? How should I make this 2 parts? Well, I thought, well, okay, the useful bureaucrats is where we'll end with here. And then next week, we'll get into hiding in plain sight, which I thought would be a new beginning, the Book of Anger, and the manipulation of life. So I think ending with those 3 strong, I guess you could say, topics is something fun, something that we should end with, just to, end off in a good note, I guess you could say, with this book. All right. So the useful bureaucrats. My master, Darth Plagueis, developed an obsession with midichlorians, neglecting his greatest talent, manipulating the strings that kept the galaxy from degenerating into anarchy. As a key figure in the intergalactic banking clan, He was well acquainted with the business leaders and politicians who shaped the very galaxy. Yet, for all their power, not one of them was recognizable to general citizens. So he's sharing a little bit of information about his master. And control of this invisible steering committee is vital to the rule of the empire, for their fortunes are tied to the regime's success. The corporate entities, and he underlined that, and I think that's his annotation, so I'll read that here pretty soon. The Senate, the HoloNet, and the military are under my control. The loss of anyone would undermine my central authority. Excuse me. I'm going to take a sip of coffee and then I'll read this annotation here on the side. Love of money, and apparently stronger than the fear of death, a few of these traitors have cut dealings with to arm the rebels. When I eliminate an executive, the replacement is much less likely to make the same mistake. Wow, that's vicious. So the corporate entity. So he's talking about like these entities switching sides and supporting the rebellion. There are, of course, unspoken members of this vital committee. Nothing could be accomplished without the tactic support of petty crime lords. Yep. And there we go. So this goes into more of the underworld kind of scheme that the empire, but business that the empire played with, I guess you can say. Chief among these are the Hutt cartels, the Bothan spy networks, the Black Sun underworld syndicate, and the Bounty Hunters Guild. So he has that underline. I'll read that here pretty soon with his annotation. These groups are not in any measurable way different from the bankers and traders. They will remain content as long as the profits are strong. But fear must be stroked from time to time. They must be reminded that doing business with rebels and seditionists leads to punishment and financial ruin. So think about that. Trying to keep control of these different aspects of the underworld, crime lords and all of that, and ruling from all aspects of the galaxy. It's not friggin' crazy. That he was a friggin' mastermind. But yet, and I'll go back to this. Even though Talon Card, dealt with the New Republic after, of course, Sidious is gone, and you have the Imperial remnant under Thrawn. He's still worried about choosing sides and stuff. So, and I think that's just a shadow of what Sidious had created. If you think about that, that's a shadow. That is like it's like the tangible what's left, tangible remaining bit of the empire that remains. And stuff. So let's see here. In the years since I first recorded these thoughts, I have come to despise the Bounty Hunters Guild. Boba Fett and those like him can be unpredictable to the point of exasperation. But Count Dooku and Lord Vader have both made intelligent use of these bandits. Yes, I know the prequel trilogies warmed about the corporates and big money politics. Yeah, I know that. I'm just like, we are just revisiting his tactics here. That's what this is about. The military families of the core hold influence over their sectors and have long hungered for a strong hand at the top. Although the Clone Wars have ended, I have heard no whisperings from anyone wishing to dismantle our armies. I would fortify the Galactic Empire and my authority with the great strength of the galaxy has ever seen. TIE fighters will scream through the skies while stormtroopers and armored walkers will round up dissenters on any planet unwilling to submit to my rule. Imperial Star Destroyers will orbit above population centers, waiting for orders to open fire if their leaders fail, to see the benefits of being an imperial position. Finally, my Death Star will be ultimate battle station and the personification of fear. Its weapon will shatter planets and extinguish all will to fight across the galaxy. When complete, the Death Star will spell an end to insignificant threats of rebellions and organized protests. So complete control through fear. Through fear. All right. And he annotates here, the designer has been tortured and the architects executed. Tarkin is fortunate to have died along with the other commanders when the Death Star exploded. He had far too much ambition and his days were numbered. Woo! Think about that. Watching A New Hope, seeing Tarkin so confident in his nature, but not realizing that Sidious was planning to execute him along the way. Imagine that. All right. So Luke annotates here. I may have been the one who fired the shot, but the Force itself wanted to purge the galaxy of the Death Star. It was the embodiment of everything that's wrong with the dark side. And that's Luke. That is Luke. All right. So we'll continue on with the next 3 sections next week. And I think next week is not Thanksgiving. Let me look at my calendar. I don't think it is. All right. Yes, it is. So we'll see. I may just pop on just to have a hello to you guys and happy Thanksgiving. And we may continue this the following week in December, the beginning of December, because of Thanksgiving. And with that, I'm perfectly fine, but I still want to say hello to you guys for Thanksgiving on a CAF chat. And for a CAF chat, just so that we don't skip another week with it just being silent on the channel. So I will keep you guys up to date on that because I'll be helping cooking and stuff. I'm spending Thanksgiving with my daughter down in Carlsbad area. And so, I don't want to take up time away from my family. Sorry, you guys. Love you guys. But I hardly get to see my older daughter. And so that's something that I'm, cherishing and want to do with her. So next week is, yes, it is Soul Assassin. I'm like, oh, damn. It felt like it came quick. So, I may hop on and say happy Thanksgiving. How are you guys doing? Have a good time. But I'm not expecting you guys to even hop on to be with me. It's Thanksgiving, So, but I still want to say hello. How are you guys doing? I might just do a pre-recorded video for you guys just to say happy Thanksgiving and stuff. We shall see. Yeah. Don't need to apologize for that. I know. I agree. So with that being said, the following week, the Book of Sith will continue the last 3 little sections of Sidious's, input here and go from there. With that being said, let's go ahead and refresh our drinks. I do need my coffee to be warmed. So let's see, what do I want to play here? Let's do this.
Prepare yourself for Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. The evil Empire has struck back with a vengeance, and a new villain, the crime lord Shizor, schemes to replace Darth Vader as the Emperor's second-in-command. With Han Solo held frozen in carbonite by bounty hunter Boba Fett, it's the rebellion's darkest hour. Now, join Jedi warrior Luke Skywalker, hard-charging Chewbacca, and go undercover with heroic pilot Dash Rendar and his booming Outrider. But can Han Solo be freed and Shizor be stopped? Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. Look for the authentic figures and vehicles from Kenner.
story.
You're searching for doesn't exist.
Impossible. Perhaps the archives are incomplete.
If an item does not appear in our records, it does not exist.
All right. So here we go. And like I said, both Lucas Facts and Book of the Week will be New Jedi Order related. And I do have this book right here with me. It's my absolute favorite now that I'm rereading through the New Jedi Order. This only goes up to a certain book, but it says right here. But I'm going to go ahead and go through this information with you. So the authors, basically J.D. Wicker, and Steve Miller. Illustrators are Anthony Waters, Ashley Wood, Corey McCurrick, Dan Brereton, Jeffrey Carlisle, Mark Sasso, R.K. Post, and Scott Fisher. And the publication came out under hardcover February of 2002. And the timeline this falls into basically is 25 ABY to 27 ABY. So this is a great source book. I'm sad that there's not a part 2 to finish off this this New Jedi Order series, but there sadly isn't. And the continuity notes here. So basically this stayed in continuity with the novels at the time. The timeline only goes to 27 ABY star by star events. There was never a part 2 made. This comprehensive book not only breaks down the Yuuzhan Vong culture, but also characters involved, shares insurgents and battle campaigns and maps. So this is like right here, your source, all the way leading up to Star by Star, which is a great introductory to the New Jedi Order. I think this is a great asset to your reading. So if you don't have it yet and you began reading, grab this book. You can get it on thriftbooks.com for an excellent price. So I recommend that you jump on this and add this to your collection. Any source books available, jump on them, add them to your collection because they are invaluable to the collection of your basic novels and stuff like that. And so right here. So who has this in their collection? I know some of you guys were at me. I'm sorry that I didn't read them yet. OG Stars, be sure to ask, has anyone seen a pod race at the Thanksgiving table? Oh my God, that'd be fun, right? Let's see here. And OG Star Wars, aside from the Count Dooku, are you a fan of the late supernova Christopher Lee? I'm a fan of Christopher Lee. He's amazing. He's amazing. All right, or he was amazing. Excuse me, my throat wants to go out. Wow. But I feel fine. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, so who has this in their collection? If you don't, I highly recommend this right here. So it's a great read through. If you like galactic maps, each era or each section that you have like a little map in there. You know, of course, if you're gonna play this as a role-playing game, it has all the stuff included in here. It has description of characters like Garmbel Iblis and all of that. Very, very informative here. So I highly recommend this. I highly recommend this. Such an amazing piece. All right. So with that being said, thriftbooks.com should have copies of this. So if you need to add this to your collection, I highly recommend it. Please do. And Star Wars Marvel Purse says, and here is, get your book here. Thank you so much. And then a bit of good, a lot of good stuff in there. Some crossovers from the New Jedi Order Story Bible, but I have to get the Bible. I have to get a story Bible. That's one thing I don't have. And but expensive stuff, yeah. And he says he'll be covering. So check out his channel Monday, and he'll go over that. It's like you can get lost in this stuff, right? It's like reading is great, but once you get into the source books and it breaks down a lot of things and it gives you more history of like the culture of the Vong and stuff like that, you can get totally lost in everything. And then maybe it'll bring more clearer definition or understanding to the Vaughn culture too, if that's something that you are struggling with. Yeah, so it's a great addition. Do you need it? No, but I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Thank you, Star Wars Marvel Pierce. Also, Hungarian Han books and German Indiana Jones books were fan translated, so I have some books to read. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that Hungarian one for Han, the Han books. So that right there, that's pretty cool. Thank you again. Yeah, so again, get this on your shelf. You really don't need it, but you do need it. So I guess you could say it's not one of the things where you really absolutely have to understand. But if you're still struggling on some things or very curious to the Vaughn culture and stuff and what makes them who they are and stuff, this is a great way to get into it. It's a great way to get into it. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into now the news part of this. This could be cringe factor / news or what have you. I don't know. But let me pull this up on the screen here. I don't know why I'm singing that. All right. Okay. All right. There we go. Why is it's like, oh, it's like, is it showing on your guys' end? It's like spinning on my, okay, there we go. All right. With this being said, yesterday this popped up about Cara Dune's character being put inside one of the recent encyclopedias and people running it like as if her character was never included after Gina Carano's been fired. And I think this is very dishonest, because if you do your research, which I think this Park Place should have done their research instead of making this into a controversial thing like, oh, well, look at this. They're finally including Cara Dune's character. I wonder if it's because of the lawsuit. No, it's not. It is absolutely not. And we'll go through this. So Gina Carano returns to Star Wars lore. Gina Carano does not return to Star Wars lore. In fact, her character is Cara Dune, so Gina Carano is the face, like her likeness is that character. That doesn't mean she's returning to Star Wars lore. And if she does, I don't think you guys should be supporting her on the lawsuit, because why is she going through this lawsuit and want to do that if she's going to return? Unless that's her wish through the lawsuit, is regaining back her place as this character. See how this goes? So with that being said, new Lucasfilm publication includes Cara Dune. Now, these two are something completely different. You got to learn how to separate the character from its actor or its model or whatever. To the shock of many, Gina Carano appears in the new. No, she doesn't. It's her fucking character. The new Star Wars encyclopedia published by DK and released this month. However, there's absolutely no mention of any characters associated with failed Disney series of The Acolyte, the brainchild of Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant. Well, first of all, it is known throughout Lucasfilm history that sometimes characters are left out because maybe the production has not been complete yet or what have you. So that's right there a nothing burger. It's just to stir up controversy, which I don't care. Be honest about what you're going to do. Doesn't mean anything. Sometimes, like when new stuff has been coming out, sometimes publications won't have them in for the current one that's being published, but the next encyclopedia they'll be included. So that's just how the evolution goes. Carano's character, Cara Dune, gets a large photo and a full write-up detail on her history. So Cara Dune, yeah, military service and adventures with the Mandalorian and Grogu. Dune was prominently featured in the first 2 seasons of the Mandalorian. Okay, so we already know that history. Gina Carano's inclusion of the Star Wars Insight. No, it's not her inclusion. It's just her character, Cara Dune, shocked many due to her very public feud with the Lucasfilm and Disney. The company failed to renew fired, so it goes back to her fired Carano back in 2021 after she shared a political meme on X that criticized the way today's society treats conservatives. The film maligned her on social media, leaving Carano effectively canceled by the huge Hollywood studio. So there we go. So this is the author, and I'm going to share this with you guys on another thing. So author Adam Bray, a writer for DK who worked on previous 3 editions of the Star Wars Encyclopedia, also called Star Wars, noted Carano's inclusion on X. While the project, he was not called back to work on it directly. The book does not have, I researched it. He is not included on the current one as an author. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this here, and we're going to pull up his tweets. And I do have it here. So here we go. Here we go. So this is his tweet yesterday, which I caught on to. I did some investigating from when that Park Place had published this article here. And then I also reached out to him, but I didn't ask permission to disclose anything in our conversation. So I'm going to leave that out on some things, but I am going to share this. All right. Cause I do my investigation, but okay. Why is it not letting me see the comments? I'm clicking on the comments button and it's not letting me pop over there. All right. So I'm sorry if you guys are talking to me right now and I can't see them. It's like frozen, and hopefully I'm not frozen. Oh, Lord. Dude, how are you not working with me right now? There we go. All right. And so this is author Adam Bray. He says, in case you were wondering, Cara Dune is featured in the new DK Star Wars Encyclopedia. And so he says you can order with his information, or with him signed with his autograph, I guess you can say. So it has her as Cara Dune right there. That's the character. We have to learn to distinguish between the actor and the character, right? So there's Cara Dune, the actual character in the Star Wars galaxy under Disney. All right, let's see here. So with that being said, so Park Place, and then a lot of people are saying, oh, well, this is her first time she's ever been included in the Star Wars source books and stuff like that since Gina Carano has been fired. Well, not really. So did you know Cara Dune is in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes in the 2024 version? Lego Star Wars in 2019, which was before she got fired. I understand that. Star Wars Encyclopedia updated the expanded vision 2021. So as during the time frame she was being fired, could this be before or after? It doesn't matter. She was still in there. The Mandalorian Handbook 2021. And then various insider stories, which included from when her character was first, appeared all the way up to this point. So various insider stories, articles, not including other sources and stories of the character of Cara Dune is noted being in. So this is not the first time that they showcased the character Cara Dune. And even before and after Gina Carano was quote unquote fired, right? So I think that this is very disingenuous to what was being said here. And like I said, there are Star Wars insider stories, articles and stuff that was based upon the character that was shared. If you guys were privy to Star Wars Insiders magazines, you would get short stories in there written by the authors and stuff like that. You would get like character write-ups, adventures that included the character or what have you, on top of other things. And so there's that. So I wouldn't say that this was the first time that she was included in any type of source under Star Wars. I think people need to do their research before they talk about it. Is it sad what Gina Carano is going through? Yes. I'm anxiously waiting to see what's going to happen with this lawsuit and where it's going to go and where it will take her. I remember Greg shared that within the court documents filed that part of her negotiations, I guess you could say, was returning as the character. And so that kind of like makes me like sit back and be like, but why would she want that in there? Is that one of the bargain chips that she wants to throw in the pile? Who knows? So with that being said, do your research. Find out before you report on something if this time the character was shown or showcased since Gina Carano's firing, which was not, because like even do I have it here? No, even the Star Wars Lego show had her in it, had Cara Dune in it. So, and that, I forgot what year that was. Oh, it's on here. It's 2020. It's 2019. Never mind. I take that back. But anyways, my thing still stands. With like, dude, I typed it right here that you guys are seeing. Let's see here. I'm trying. Okay, here we go. They canceled the Rey movie for Ice Age. I'm not worried about that. I can care less. Also, Fawcett claimed that it includes the first depiction of a living mythosaur. Yes, I seen you commented on that, and I was gonna bring that up. Disney lore has mythosaurs living in the current historical timeline of Mandalore, in a sense, where in original lore they have been long since extinct. And I think they fashion them to look different as well. I need to go put some comparisons on there. So thank you for bringing that up. Let me see here. This guy has only written for Disney Wars. Maybe Star Wars series can get an interview from him. I could probably get an interview from him. And then you guys will be saying I'm a shill, but I don't care. Okay. There's some things I know that I know from talking with him that would, I would say goes into the DEI portion of, bringing in qualified writers and stuff like that. So there's a little hint there why he didn't write for this last encyclopedia. The Trump effect. Disney puts Gina in the book. Laugh out. Yeah. So we're gonna go the Trump effect. Ooh, everything's healing. Everything's being put right again. Matthew says, like if Kennedy ever leaves Lucasfilm in the next 20 years, Doomcock can say he was right. Yeah, Clock is right at least twice a day, right? And when you keep repeating something, eventually it will happen, because she has to eventually leave, right? She has to eventually leave. So once she does, whether it's on her own terms or not, he's going to be like, I'm right. Well, we know that she's going to retire. So no, you weren't talking about her retiring. You were talking about her being fired. Why did they shrunk Rey in the encyclopedia? I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't care. I don't care about that. The only thing Cameron was correct about was the Rey movie being a fake movie, and only because Disney pulled it from the 2026 live. Well, no, it doesn't mean it was fake. I wouldn't say it's fake. It's probably just something that they just decide not to do or cancel or postpone for a while. So it's not fake. There's no evidence that it's fake or not. So proud to be a Disney circus film writer. Yeah, you are. No, I'm joking. Garbage character. All right. Lucasfilm. Let me go ahead and put it up here. Lucasfilm, Civil War, and Sparrow, and all of that stuff was the most absurd thing ever, lampooned by Melvin. All right. Faux show. Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the exact dates for the Mandalorian Handbook and the expanded edition of the Character Encyclopedia update. I am also going to make my trip back up to Barnes & Nobles to do some more research. So I think I'll do that today. So stay tuned. So if I appear on the Spacing Friday nights and we use this as a faux show, I will have continued or more evidence to this. Because when you have the resources in front of you, not only like through not social media, through the internet, but when you actually go to a source and research the information, then it makes your stuff more valid, I guess you could say. It puts more validity to everything, right? And so I think I'm going to go back up there, gas up, go back up there, grab me a nice hot cappuccino and sit down at the Starbucks there in the cafe there and go through the books, take notes and stuff like that. If I would have known it was coming up, because I was at Barnes and Noble's Monday, I would have done that. But of course, you can't predict the future, right? You cannot predict the future. And thank you to Abu Nas. He's always been such a sweetheart with super chats. Like I said, I don't push memberships or super chats, but they are highly appreciated and welcomed. Hello there. I'm going to behave myself today and enjoy your show. No trigger words that will make you want to strangle me. I will be on my best behavior for now. I know. And it's a lot of constraint for you to be on your best behavior. So kudos to you, Abu Nas, and thank you for the $10 super chat. Okay, let's see here. It seems like you're trying to create a personal profile for everyone for the FBI. Weird. I just like to produce evidence in what I'm doing and stuff like that. Oh my God. Let's see here. Whatever happens in these businesses dealings, I just want to see Disney fail more. Yeah. So Assassin, I'm gonna predict the future. OG will mention Cornhorn. See, she did. That's because I'm reading your freaking chat right here. Oh my God. I should have read it in silence first and not said anything. Huh? That would have pulled something. That would pull the wool over your ears or your eyes, huh? Your eyes, not your ears. Okay. Just tell her you love TCW. If you could see me now, I'm flipping you off right now, Justin. Book video. You guys are hilarious. Actually, love TCW early seasons with Lucas was in control. You know, I have said before, and this is not in defense of Abu Nas, because I think that, you know, you have some weird fucking taste when it comes to Star Wars, faux lore and actual lore. Yes, I said it. But I've said in the past, like, there's some like episodes and stuff like that that I absolutely liked, and that just dealt with the clone troopers in themselves. So I get it. I'm not that hard against TCW. However, I think it would be better if it was considered a propaganda type series. Like I said earlier. All right, either Rey's Jedi Order or another tie-in. Let's see here. Soul Assassin, my brother, good to see you. Yes. And let's see here. He does love Darth Plagueis, so he ain't always wrong. I agree. You got that. You nailed that down, Justin. You nailed that down right. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and play a commercial, which is the topic we're going to get on to, and then we'll see if we have time for Cringe Factor. If not, then this is the Cringe Factor we're talking about with a bit of news. So let's go ahead and get to the commercial I want to share with you guys, which is a spoiler to the next topic here, but here you go.
The fate of the galaxy is now in your hands. With the new LEGO Star Wars Slave One, you can load Captain Solo, arm your weapon systems, man the cockpit, and take off with the most feared ship in the galaxy. But watch out for rebel ships. No matter the enemy, no matter the firepower, you control the action. With the new LEGO Star Wars collection.
I don't know if that skipped around for you, but it did on my end. I don't know what the hell's going on, because if the internet is like, the connection is not stable, it'll let me know. And the internet's fine, but I don't know why that video was skipping. So with that being said, on my end, if it didn't skip on your end, cool. I agree. So here we go. So this book uncovers a lot of things like the mythosaur that we briefly touched on. And then we have Boba Fett's starship, which the author Adam Bray points out and has noticed. And like I said, I had conversation with him, and there's a lot of things that he and I agree with, which is crazy, right? Because he's an author for these type of books here that and he wasn't brought in for this last encyclopedia, I guess you can say, or source book, because of DEI machinations, like what's going on with the state of Star Wars, Lucasfilm, and the hiring process. So that's all I'm going to say with that. But this is what he has to say. In case you are wondering, the new DK Star Wars Encyclopedia does remove all references of Slave One from the previous editions. The ship are now known as Boba Fett's starship, which was not originally his starship. It was Jango's. He inherited after his father's death. It's a weird and inconsistent change by Disney, given that the book refers to slavery in the Star Wars storyline in multiple other places. But Disney executives that made this decision probably aren't familiar with story details. So he's kind of telling on them in a sense. But we've seen this from the beginning, myself, and I think Tim as well, and others like Ryan Kennel has reported about Disney Lucasfilm's decision on changing this name and taking away Slave One, when it's something that was approved and done by George for even his novel Empire Strikes Back. So this right here, we have Boba Fett's starship. You know, it's from the Kuat Systems Engineering, so modified fire spray 31 class patrol and attack crafts. So this is their interpretation of this right here. And by time we get into an original lore, by time we get into like bloodlines and stuff like that, Boba Fett talks about the starship Slave One, and he talks about the sea is the only thing that remains original from when his father had the starship Slave One. And if you know the history to why Slave One became a name of the starship, is because at one point Jango was held captive as a slave. And so I'm just going to give that brief story there. He escaped, and through his experiences and stuff like that, and his survival and all this other stuff, he named that ship that, and it was more of a positive than a negative, I guess you could say. You know, so and it talks about the unusual design and what have you. So let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Come on now. Dude, work for me. It's like I'm clicking on the button to get to chat and it doesn't want to do it. I already complained about this. Come on now. Work with me, StreamYards. All right. It's like, oh, it skipped. Oh, right. It's like Vince McMahon censoring the word wrestling for sports entertainment. And let's see here. Do they mention Anakin's time as a slave? You know what? I have, you know what? If this book is there, when I go up there, I will report on that. I will, you know, because Twitter, you can do live streams on Twitter. So stay tuned. All right, stay tuned. Hopefully I remember and I can get that in and I have good connection over there. Jango named the ship after his time as a slave. Correct. And Diddley Squat says, I watched TCW multiple times, especially to break it down. There are no reason to believe that it was written as propaganda. To me, sounds just like an umpteenth excuse to justify how inconsistent it is. It's very inconsistent. Very, very. The encyclopedia is trying to make Jake look cool. I can't wait to get into that cesspool of that. All right. OG's making friends with her statements. You know me. I make all kinds of friends. You know, sometimes they are so excited about my tweets that they all decide to jump in, you know, and talk about it because, you know, it just pushes their happy button. And I say that, you know, in a very sarcastic way. All right. Come on now. I want to get to this comment here. Thank you. Do you have any Lego sets, OG? No, I've never been a Lego fan. I've never been a Lego fan. I never bought any for my kids either because I don't like them. Yep, I know. Probably breaking some hearts right now. I'm sorry. Like Raging Rhino, I'm sorry. I love your collection and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. I admire your passion, but not for me. Y'all got to see how stupid the mythosaur looks like an alligator. Yeah, we were talking about that. And I thought about bringing that up. And but when I have a chance to look at this book, I will, you know, put some more information, get some more information on that, and then share that as well. Shit, I might as well make a video, you know. Let's see here. Abunas. Well, talk about hitting below the belt, but it's cool. Love you anyways. you know me. I'm always like messing around, you know. I'm always messing around. That's just my nature. That's just my nature. Whether you know me or not, if you don't know me and you take it as a, that's your problem, not mine. And you made lots of enemies too, so it's even. Soul Assassin, OG, I sent you a clip. All right, I'm going to go ahead and check it out real quick. And, oh yeah, I didn't want to step on Legos or have them anywhere. The horror. Oh, the horror. Yes, I agree. Sorry, you guys. I think it's cool. One of my adopted cousins was an avid Lego collector, and I sat and worked with him on a couple of pieces, and that's fine, but it's not for me. Not for me. Let's see here. Am I sharing? Okay, no, it says stop sharing. What's going on here? Yeah, let's remove this here. Stop screen. Okay. Twitter. I'm going to see. Dude, stop it. There we go. All right, let's see what Soul Assassin sent me. I don't think we're going to get into the big crux of cringe factor, and I don't think you guys mind at all. I do have a lunch date with my son after this, and then I want to zoom up to the city, and that's like a 40-minute drive. The things I do for you guys in the channel just to investigate. You guys are loved. Okay, I'm going to play this. Let me just go ahead and get it up on screen. Dun, 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 dun. All right. I think that this is a very important bit of information here. Thank you so much, Soul Assassin. Let me go back to my StreamYard's clip here. Let's remove this. Remove from studio. All right. So I'm going to share a video, and we're going to watch this, and then we're going to start winding down. Now, I'm going to talk about New Jedi Order again real quick before we wind down, because I want to just share where I'm at with my reading and my reread adventures with you guys, because like I said, I want to keep this front and center since there's people that has been noticing and picking up these books as well. So I want to, you know, dip into that a little bit as well, since I haven't done my Vector Prime review at all. Yes, I'm bad. I'm terrible. I know. All right, let's go ahead and I'm not going to do full screen. I'm just going to zoom in.
Ross, I'll let you know what I find out.
Hey, did you name that new ship of yours yet?
She's called Slave One.
There's kind of a ruthless ring to it. Fits your personality.
There we go. It's called Slave One. So there you go. Let me remove this now. Legos are expensive too. Walk into a Lego store and you'll feel your wallet and purse go empty. Yes, I do look at them. They're pretty interesting and pretty creative with what they do and what you can build and stuff, which I admire. It's just not for me. I haven't had Star Wars toys since I was a kid. I did get a Lego Phantom Menace once for Christmas. Ma and his speeder and Qui-Gon. Pretty cool. Now, there's an antique store that I visit in the town where I teach yoga. And it is, it's a big, huge piece, and it's Han Solo on the Tauntaun from Empire Strikes Back. I told myself that when I return, if it's there, I'm going to buy it and add it to my collection. So when I go back, which is probably be pretty soon, you guys might get a little sneak preview of it. If it's there, I'm going to absolutely pick it up and bring it home. And Bounty Hunters 2002. Yes. All right. And that was such an awesome game. Oh, yeah. I remember my cousins playing that. I remember that. Let's see here. Right. I've seen some amazing projects built. Yeah. Great stream. I've got to bounce. Don't forget, Casual Rage Tonight. Correct. Also, OG Star Wars, Darth Plaus, and Star Wars Scran will be back on my channel to finish Vector Prime Deep Dive on December 7th at 6 p.m. Correct. And I look forward to that. I'll have more notes. And like I said, I like to dissect and try to bring up things that are not being talked about. So I'll be going through that. Not annotating, but getting my basically piece of paper or sticky notes to place where I want to talk about, and so that we can get deeper dive into Vector Prime, because we are coming into the meat and potatoes, like the heavy shit now, where we're going to have emotions. There's going to be, all of that, so not to spoil anything. Okay. All right. Jago calls his ship Slave One because he was enslaved, in the equivalent of him writing on his mug, number one dad. Our feet go, your Bounty Hunters is a classic. I don't even know why I said that the way I did. Holy shit. Shadows of Empire, Nintendo 64. I remember playing that. Hard to beat. Good stuff. RK Outpost randomly dropped in on the first stream. I have made an open invitation to Star Wars Theory if he wants to come and talk about real Star Wars. Yes. And I've invited him to join me on the reread or the reading of New Jedi Order, and no reply whatsoever. I think his head is like so big you could take a needle and pop it. That's how much he is full of himself. That's how I feel about that dude. I really honestly do. He thinks he's above everybody else, and there's no humbleness behind the man. Really, there's no humbleness, but that's all I got to say about that. All right, you guys. So, New Jedi Order. I am on, what's it called? Dark Tides? What is it called? Dark Tides? Jeez, I forget which one I'm reading. Yeah. So, I'm reading. I had put the book down for a few days. I did read a little bit when I was down ill, but during that time there was basically I was asleep and recovering, and it's Agents of Chaos. So I'm on Agents of Chaos. Dark Tides is what I finished. So Agents of Chaos, a hero's trial, and that duology is about Han dealing with the grief, wanting to help, and also get revenge. Like he's positioning himself now to start coming out of his grief for Chewie, in a sense. The beginning basically is the memorial for Chewie. So spoil alert, if you guys haven't read, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to give details. And then he meets some friends that he has made. Like if you've ever read Han Adventures, there's characters that that were debuted in that trilogy, basically, that are brought in again in this adventure of Han and him, trying to find resolution with his feelings and his feelings, and the mourning process of Chewie and his standing with his family, which they're estranged, but not in a bad way. Not like how you see him in, the Disney trilogy. He's dealing with the loss of someone significant to him since what's her name again? Soul or Justin or someone help me out. The Wookiee that helped care for him under Shrike when he was living under Shrike. Well, anyways, so that's a huge significant loss. And so this teaches him how to mourn, how to deal with loss, who he can rest upon for this, like whose shoulders he can rely on and stuff, which Leia kept on trying to, give him that grace, I guess you could say. But again, he was so angry, so much in disbelief, like the horror of Serpentale going down the way it did. Yeah, that's traumatic in itself, right? Almost losing his son as well. So there's a lot of factors. And I know I've talked with people saying that they didn't like how he was written and how he mourned Chewie, because by this time he should have been able to rely on Leia and Luke and stuff. Well, that's not the case. This is his first extreme loss, because he never knew how he lost his family, right? Like his mom and his dad and stuff. And so this is his first time squaring away with such a significant loss, which teaches him down the line how to cope and stuff like that, and who he can rely on later on for other future events in the new Jedi Order series, right? Like Star by Stars events and stuff like that. So we get to see another growth in Han's character, in a sense, if you want to say this is character growth, because it significantly is. Like in the beginning, we see him grown from being selfish to selfless and forming a family, something he's always wanted. Now this is a significant loss. And so he's growing through that, realizing who he can trust and who he can't, in this big aspect of these invaders creating this intrusion and war, destroying worlds and species. So there's a lot of chaos going on, rightfully so. And so he's dealing with that too. He talks about revenge. He's talking about getting revenge on these species, these Vong that had taken the life of his best friend, almost taken the life of his kids when they were at Lando's Folly, right? And all of that. So with that being said, so I think that's great writing by who's written for this one? Who is writing this one here? I don't remember. But anyways, I forgot the author for this one here. Who's the author for that? I don't have the timeline in front of me. So who is the writer for Agents of Chaos? Let me see here. Anybody can give me Agents of Chaos. I should have that in front of me. I don't have the book in front of me. I'm going to go ahead and just bring it up. James Luceno. Duh, Laura. What the fuck? Yeah, so it's James Luceno, and I think this is his first. There you go. Thank you. You're like, James Luceno. Haha, I didn't leave. See, look at, I got you on that one, huh? Thank you guys, Jordan and Justin. Yeah, I was like, that one I should have remembered, but I didn't fucking remember. Oh my God. But anyways, James Luceno, I think this is his first Star Wars book that he's written under George Lucas. You're slacking, OG. I know. It's okay. Shit happens. I'm not perfect. Yeah, so I believe this is his first installment within the greater galaxy of Star Wars, and he does an excellent job writing Han in this, in his growth and how he's gonna cope with his grief, his loss, reestablishing himself within his family, and his adventures of finding, of looking for, I'm not trying to give out spoilers and stuff like that, but the revenge part are getting put back into his heroic arc, I guess you could say. So it's very interesting how he's written Han here and how it offers a lot more growth. And so I absolutely love this part of Han too, going through another bit of growth through loss and stuff like that in this chaotic environment that the Vong's creating, right? And then we also get Vizier, the introduction of Vizier, or however you say her name. and a possible cure for Mara. So with that being said, this is where I'm at with the storyline. And I probably will pick it up tonight and read a couple of chapters, and so I can move on and keep going forward with this. And again, on December 7th, find me with Justin on his channel and Darth Paz and Scran for our second half of Vector Prime. I'm always available to talk each one of these books with Justin while he goes through the series himself. So just letting you know, if you need an extra panelist, I am available if I could fit the schedule, with the others. So with that being said, pick up these books and read with us, reread with us, or read with us if you haven't read the New Jedi Order. And keep in touch with me on social media, here every CAF chat on your adventures through the reread or read of the New Jedi Order. I want to hear all about it in the comments on social media, keeping this front and center in front of everybody so we can keep inspiring others to pick up these books. It's been such a joy going through this. And again, it's kind of a heartache, but in a good way, because, when these authors write so well, they put you in the galaxy with these characters. You're feeling what they're feeling. You're experiencing, in a sense, through the mind's eye, through your reading, what they're experiencing. And I think Lucino knocked it out of the park for this duology. So keep it. Read with me, talk with me, or discuss with me. New Jedi Order. New Jedi Order, you guys. Let me see here. And Matthew says, the Rebellion and Republic comics, KOTOR comics are great. Dark Times, lots of good Dark Horse. I personally like the Aura Singh books. There you go. And Ashred books. Yeah, there you go. They do all heavy lifting. Great. Yeah, let me see here. And finally, fans talking about Star Wars and not the latest drama. There we go. Oh, not the guests. Okay, I was like, I don't know what you were trying to say right there, but thank you for clarifying. They're fabulous, Matt. Yes. And let's see, why R.A. Salvatore never wrote for Star Wars books after Vector Prime? I don't know. Oh, you know what? I think he says that he was never asked again. Because you have to be asked. Lucasfilm at the time, and I talked about this like in private with Soul Assassin and some other people. Lucasfilm under George was all about top quality writers, authors, and by invitation. So that's why you have a lot of these best-selling authors come in and write for Star Wars, and then those books becoming best-selling because they wanted quality. And not saying R.A. Salvatore wasn't quality. He was brought in because he was. He just wasn't invited, so. And which his book was amazing, so we can't say that he didn't do a good job. Huge Dark Horse fan. I used to drop $100 a week on the comic shop when comics meant a darn. Yeah, I get it. I enjoy discussing lore. So do I. That's my thing. That is my love and my passion. He did Carrano. He wrote The Attack of the Clones. That's right. Thank you. I forgot all about the movie novelization. He just wasn't asked right after, but yeah, you're right. He did. I wasn't thinking about the movie novelization. Yeah, he was skeptical at coming back. I think he was skeptical because of the fact of the controversy with Chewie and how fans didn't care for that direction. Some fans didn't care for that direction. Yeah. So there you go. Woo, see? I forgot all about the movie novelization that he wrote. There you go. I'm not perfect. And we always have someone in the chat that can pick up on that and say, hey, no, Laura, this is what happened, or this is where he came back at, and it's all good. Because I'm not perfect. I'm human, and I do get shit confused sometimes or messed up, and that's okay. We all do. I don't pretend to be perfect. I don't pretend that I have read something and never have. That's the thing. I do forget authors and what books they exactly wrote, and that's fine. So the most incredible is episode 3 by Stover, hands down. Yes. All right, you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude it here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and talking Star Wars lore pre-Disney. Some update, some news and cringe factor news, I guess you can call it cringe factor news. And I am going to take that trip up to Fresno, where I live at, to Barnes and Nobles, and do that research today after I have my lunch with my son, and report back. You know, if this becomes a faux show kind of thing, then I have more more evidence to present. I think people, instead of just jumping on the bandwagon, like this is the first time since Gina Carano's firing that the character Cara Dune was expanded on. I think that people need to do their research. They're making something, they're just, I hate this word, but they're just grifting and not doing the research. Like when you don't do your research and you present something and stuff, I'm going to call it grifting. So they're doing that just to create controversy and drama and stuff like that. I'm fine. Sure. Do what you want to do. No, that's fine. But please do your homework. Please share the facts. I mean, there's no evidence. There's no evidence provided by that Parks Place and to prove that this is the first time in a long time that this character Cara Dune was used since Gina's firing. So, and it just takes a simple bit of research, but it's all about controversy, drama, all of that. But with that being said, if you are catching the replay, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Please let me know what you think and share your comments below so I know you were here. And with you guys in the chat right now during the live, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and talking Star Wars. Please hit that like button if you have not yet. If you are listening on Twitter, come over to the YouTube side and hit the like button. I don't know how this thing between the crossover between YouTube and Twitter, the streaming, how it works with that. So come over here and hit the like button. Let me know you're here watching. And with that being said, become a channel member, support the channel. I would like to do a lot more stuff with my channel members. So let's grow through the membership. And so we could thrive more, so I can give more offerings and stuff like that. I would love to do the postcard idea with my art. I would love for you guys to be like excited for the next bit of like monthly postcard art piece being sent to you as a channel member, depending on the tier you're in, and sharing that love to you guys for your support through that way. So that right now is in planning thought process right now. So I would love to do something more for you guys. So with that being said, thank you so much. You guys have a good day. And I will probably see you tonight in chat for Raging Rhino's Casual Rage. We'll see what he has to present for that. And then for the spacing Friday night, if I'm asked to be called upon, then more than likely I will be there. So again, have a good night or day or morning. I'm going to have a good lunch and then go do my investigation. So stay tuned for that. Talk to you guys later.
Luke Skywalker was just a farm boy until he received a mysterious message from a princess.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
She's beautiful.
Star Wars, starring Mark Hamill.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
Harrison Ford.
Boring conversation anyway. Luke, we're gonna have company! I think we took a wrong turn.
Carrie Fisher.
Good luck.
Alec Guinness.
You can't win, Darth. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
20th Century Fox presents the most extraordinary motion picture of all time, Star Wars.
Here's where the fun begins.
No legendary adventure of the past could be as exciting as this romance of the future.
Here they come.
May the Force be with you in Star Wars.
Another happy landing.